You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into this bonus episode of Locked On Rays, your daily podcast covering everything Tampa Bay Rays, from game analysis to player interviews. We've got you covered with all the latest news and insights. My name is Kevin Weiss.
And I'm Ulises, Sambrano,
bringing you expert analysis and passionate discussions about our beloved Rays.
Whether you're a diehard fan who vividly remembers Longo's game 162 just like us,
or you remember the early Devil Ray days of Wade Boggs or Carl Crawford,
we're here to break down every play, every trade, and every milestone. In fact, this is our 6th season covering the Rays daily.
And every season they've gone to the playoffs, not looking so hot right now. But in the meantime, grab your favorite Rays gear, settle in, subscribe to our Locked On Rays YouTube channel and other podcast platforms. And you can also find us on X and Instagram at Locked On Rays. Well, Ulises, a big domino has fallen. A big domino has shifted in the wee hours of Friday morning. I guess not so much on West Coast time, since the Rays were dealing with the Mariners. Literally, there will be no Randy Land at the Trop tonight. That is because he has been traded to the Mariners in return for a couple of prospects in the low levels of the minors and a player to be named later. So, and if I'll add this, brace yourselves, Rays fans, because Randy might not be the only member of this team, prolific member of this team, that is getting the boot. Just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, get ready. Get ready. This team has not performed as expected. And so these types of moves are to be expected. This type of season is what happens. And look, I feel like, again, most things in life, the people that are salivating for basically lottery tickets in prospects, they're wrong. And people that are saying this team is now doomed because Randy is gone, they're also wrong. I think those two people at the end of the spectrum should get together and have a great old time together.
Yeah, they should meet at the Budweiser Reports tonight with me and levy their differences and come to some sort of middle ground.
Because they could all just like cheers to them being completely wrong, because the answer is in the middle. Jimmy Eat World, haha. It's in the middle. Like, yeah, look, as a fan, it sucks that Randy leaves. This man is the best combination of production and fan favorite
and
since
durability.
Evan Longoria.
Durability. We have to respect his durability over the last several seasons. We could count him on 150 plus games a year. Not many players nowadays do that. I'm just throwing that out.
And not only players with the Ray system, but like across MLB, like you just don't see it, you know? And his type of dynamic play, it's like even more impressive that he is able to post. And there is something to that. Look, it's going to suck not having Randy Land. It's going to suck not having him be a part of this franchise. We have the good moments. We have the good memories. But it definitely was a tough way to wake up to these types of news.
Oh, it's a really tough way to wake up. But if you're a Rays fan, it's something that you have to grow accustomed to and be comfortable with this uncomfortability, because this is the just the way that the Rays operate and do business. I don't know if things will shift when the new stadium comes aboard, but it is something that when a guy gets to be $8, $9, $10 million halfway through his arbitration career, and the team is below expectation with a record high payroll, these moves are going to happen. And what's interesting about the deal and the dynamic between the Mariners and the Rays, one, they love dealing with each other. There have been like 16 trades between both organizations since 2015. Jerry Dipoto, as it is, he likes to trade with anybody and everybody, but has a strong rapport with the Rays. And I think some of that is the fact that, hey, you're all the way in the West Coast. There's a lot of separation there. They have to play you or face you very often. And I think they're both similar organizations. It's not like the Mariners operate with a huge payroll. They're not just a big behemoth that is pulling other guys around by spending hundreds and hundreds of $1 million. But
bigger than the Rays.
Yeah, basically they have identical records. But where the rubber meets the road is the division. I mean, Mariners, I think they're 53 and 51 right now. What are the Rays? 52 and 51? Basically the same. But the Mariners have a legit chance to win the division just based on how the West is this year, where the Rays have no shot. And then it's just a tough pill to swallow, unfortunately. The Rays are fourth in the
it's what we've talked about with the AL Central and the NL Central, right? It context matters with who you're playing in your division, and yeah, it sucks that's the case. It honestly, not only the fact that it was a tough pill to swallow, that he's traded, but lately you've seen the Rays' attitude change with the types of return that they get when you're giving up these types of veteran players. And you would expect kind of like a Glasnow type trade. Again, different players, so don't think I'm equating them. I'm just saying with Glasnow, you get in Margot, you get Johnny DeLuca and Ryan Pepio, players that are ready to at least have a good chance, a good opportunity to make the roster and be participants in the 26-man roster. And that's not the case with MLB Ready. This is not the case with Aidan Smith, who is in low A, as well as Brody Hopkins. Young guys with a ton of talent who could potentially make a splash in 3 years, 4 years, or maybe never.
Right. And for what it's worth, they both are now essentially top 5, top 10 prospects in the Rays organization, outfielder, right-handed pitcher, and then there will be a player to be named later, which not expecting it to be Shane Baz 2.0, but sometimes you can get a good throw in there that the Rays have maybe a list of guys that they can choose from and still figuring out the evaluation, coming to a final determination like that. But I think, are we in agreement here that Randy is biggest fan favorite since Evan Longoria? I mean, it's hard for me to think of somebody else. He was the dude. They built marketing campaigns around him. He was on billboards. They had a night dedicated to him. The arms crossed, the fact that when he got to the Rays and just did historic once in a lifetime things in the 2020 playoffs, that cemented him as a name brand player. And I think him, his personality, his name, what he brought to the table, he generated single-handedly more interest in the Rays because of who he is and what he did.
And, I had people telling me, Brett Phillips, Ji-Man Choi, Willie Adames, they were fan favorites, but I mean, compare the production plus the fan friendliness. There has been no player since Evan Longoria that matched those two components, which are incredibly important, and that's why this hurts so much. In a fan base side. Now, rationally thinking, he's getting more expensive. He's getting older. Are the April and May numbers, a tail sign of, hey, maybe, things are going to get worse for him on the field, and then you can at least get something back. If the Rays received Aidan Smith, who does have a 155 WRC plus in low A, and Brody Hopkins, whose fastball reaches 99 miles an hour and his breaking balls are going to be on Pitching Ninja if he just did minor league stuff. If that's what they got, plus a player to be named later, who, by the way, cannot be from this year's draft, nor on the Mariners 40-man roster. I think people should know that. If this is what they got, that means that this was the best thing for them. This means that, they didn't just call the Mariners, people.
Right.
This was the best that was offered to them. These are the players that they liked the best. So this was it. This was his value. This is his market value.
And you hope these guys have a better trajectory and are more productive if and when they become members of the Rays on the big league club in 26, 27, 28, when the new stadium opens, that they're do something and it doesn't become another like Snell deal where the 4 members in that acquisition did not live up to the hype or the expectations. They're talking top 100 prospect. Oh, this guy can do this. This guy has this stuff. And it did not matriculate into what we thought it would, unfortunately. We have more to discuss on this bonus episode. But first, we have to tell the audience something very important.
Correct. And people, guess what? This episode of Locked On Rays is brought to you by Booking.com. Everybody, Booking. Yeah. That's right. With summer travel heating up, especially travel for baseball games, it's time to explore those U.S. cities you always secretly wanted to learn about. And yeah, we're talking about your rival cities. I know I haven't been to New York in a while. And I know that if I wanted a good tour guide, guess what? Mr. Kloss could be the guy to do that. And if I wanted to get the perfect place to stay, Booking.com is that place. From hotels that look over stadiums to family-friendly resorts, Booking.com has so many choices across the U.S. you wouldn't believe. So today, get on that Booking.com site or the app, because the right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals. Book today on Booking.com, on the site, or in the Booking.com app today.
Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. A complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands, and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service as well. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at supplyhouse.com/TM and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at supplyhouse.com.
So the thing with Randy, I guess if you're going to trade him, this is the best time to trade him, because he has really turned a corner the last couple months. And I think that is something that the Rays were able to show as evidence of, hey, Randy
is back.
A couple months there, but now he is back to vintage Randy, and even more so. And we can see it by what we watch. Just he is driving, playing the ball more, the fastballs, any type, any location, he is doing damage to them. And he's cut the strikeout rate. So he's delivered on that promise. Like, if you're going to maximize value, this is the time you had to do it, I guess.
Yeah, because it's rising. So you might as well just, capitulate on it. And they did. The timing, of course, at 1 a.m. in the morning, like you said, it's unfortunate for the fandom. Makes sense talking to people on the West Coast. But I did see a tweet. I thought it was pretty funny. I'll share it with you guys. Catherine Tinker says, front office full of cowards to pull that while we're all asleep. I shouldn't have to get up and go into work today. I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, take a nice sick day if you can, based on that news. You wake up, you see the tweets, you see the messages, and it's not fun to deal with. Now, there are rumblings out there that the Rays could be buyers and sellers. So I guess that is the question: is do they go out and try to find a major league piece while they're offsetting salary? I guess that's the $1 million question, how they do over the next couple of days.
Two options, right? You get an established outfielder, or at least somebody that could potentially become an established outfielder, or you go the second route, which I think honestly is what they're going to be doing, which is, hey, now we have left field, a perfect platoon that we want to give time to. Richie Palacios is going to see all right-handed pitchers in left field. And Johnny DeLuca, you're going to see all lefties and starting in left field. And that way you can see more at-bats from both of them and keep them both more engaged than you have. But I think that, honestly, that's the route. I mean, I would be surprised, Kevin. I would be surprised if they go out and get somebody who very Brent Rooker. I don't think they're doing that. I don't think they're going for that type of caliber. I think it's going to be somebody you're like, oh, isn't that guy with that team? That's the biggest trade that they're going to get, in my opinion, in the outfield.
Think of like a Ramel Tapia fill-in or something like that.
Yes.
But this does seem like a move that, hey, we're going to do our best here with what we got, but we want to give a fair shot, a fair shake, and see what Palacios and DeLuca can do in more of a prominent role. And if they struggle mightily or they're not showing what their evaluation laid out, then maybe they go in a different direction than those guys. But you got those guys for a reason. You feel confident that they can get some semblance of a job done with the platoon aspect there. So,
and I don't think can you really judge this trade until, first of all, the trade deadline is over?
Right.
I don't think so. I think we got to see what they do. Is it going to be the platoon option, or are they actually going to go the free agent outfield path? We don't know. So I think it's a little bit too soon to talk about, what we think about this specific trade.
Yeah, and I want to know what the player to be named later is, because that could be a nice little piece as well. And brace yourselves, Zach Eflin, get your packing bags ready. Rosario, definitely. Yandy Diaz, he was just reinstated. I don't know if that means something. He could be in the ship as well. So everything in the sky says it's going to be a busy trade deadline for the Rays, for better or worse.
I'll say this. People that know about prospects seem to be really high on these guys. I think, again, because of them being in low A, it's kind of like a lottery ticket. But Baseball of America writer Jeff Ponte says the Rays lend one of the most athletic pitchers in the minors in Brody Hopkins and a tooled-up outfield in Aidan Smith. With an optimized swing and improving skills, Smith ranked number 14 and Hopkins ranked number 15 in Baseball America Mariners top 30. Really like this return for Tampa Bay. So, that's something to take a hold on. But again, like I said earlier, I think people that are just like salivating for the prospects and not giving Randy his due are wrong. And people that think this team is doomed because Randy's gone, you're also wrong. Meet at the Budweiser porch with Kevin Weiss tonight.
I think people would be a lot happier if it was a case or a situation where you were getting Ford in return, if that makes sense. So because he has been a big prospect name with the Mariners and he's a catcher, and if Ford is included in the deal, then I think not everybody, but a lot more people would shut up because they're at least familiar with that name. So getting a little bit of the gauge from the listeners out there on the Twitter X machine, we put out Randy Arozarena has been traded. How do you feel about it? Put the poll up. Love the prospects. 11% of the voting say. Bittersweet, 55% say. And then Snell's infamous quote, 34% say. And there were a slew of comments. Ulises, anything in particular that stood out to you based on the tone of those comments from the fan base?
It seems like a fan base that recognizes who they cheer for. They understand the Rays organization and which is nice. It's good that the fandom is informed and who they are. I saw Nicholas talking about, he says, I was expecting Diaz or Paredes to be dealt, not Randy. Plus, from Seattle, I thought that we might ask for Harry Ford. Anyways, I trust our front office. Just like you said, you think Mariners, you think Harry Ford.
And I'm sure they asked for it, but it was probably a big, hard, fat no.
Exactly.
That was probably the case. So
exactly.
It'd be one thing. Look, I think the Mariners are going to be pleased because they get another bat in the lineup, which they desperately need with some of their injuries and some of their outfield capabilities. And depending on if they want to pay Randy, they have another 2.5 years of control of him. And if they want, just get what you can from this year, maybe a little bit next year, you could still get some value from him if you trade him, before he reaches free agency. So they probably have some mind games to play with that in that angle too.
And again, if you don't know the financials, Randy was getting paid around $9 million this year. So that means that next year is going to be 11, or maybe 12. And then that keeps going up and up. So that Stu don't play that game. And hopefully he plays that game once the stadium the new stadium is built, and he joins a bigger pool rather than the small pool that he's been playing since 2006.
That would be nice. All right, we'll have more to discuss on this next week and Monday. Maybe do a crossover with the Locked On Mariners guys as well. And who knows, we could have a couple more trades by the time the weekend is over. So buckle up, everybody. In the meantime, hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe. And we will talk to you next week.